Hello, I'm Lee Brooks from the Finance News Network. Joining me from ABM Resources to discuss its vision for the company and its rights issue is Managing Director Brett Lambert. Brett, welcome to FNN.
Yeah, good morning, Lee.
Brett, you've only recently joined ABM as Managing Director during a period of significant transition in the company. Can you give us the key highlights of ABM's board's vision and the strategy for ABM going forward?
I was brought in at fairly short notice late last year, and that was at a time when the company's gold mining operation at Old Pirate hadn't been performing. And so I guess my task was really to look into that and try and ascertain what was happening and develop a way forward. And after investigating the mine, in short, really the fundamental problem was it was only delivering around 50% of the gold that was forecast. And it wasn't really a situation that could be rectified. So we set about modifying the mine plan to try and produce as much net cash flow as we could for the remaining life of the operation, and then set forward a strategy for where we'd go from there. And really it's about focusing back on exploration, which has always been the main value driver for this company. The Old Pirate gold mining operation I mentioned was really a short-term, one-year trial mining operation, really to investigate one of the area's high-grade resources. So what we'll be doing going forward, now that we've just wrapped up mining at Old Pirate, is looking at what we can do with the company's existing resources. And there's three. In addition to Old Pirate, we have the Buccaneer deposit, which is a very much larger undeveloped resource, and a very strategically placed deposit known as Hyperion, which also has great growth potential. So one element of our program will be to look at those three resources and determine if we can find a viable way to production for any or all of them. We also intend to follow up some of our advanced exploration projects where we've had some good results in the past and high expectations of being able to add to those. And then the third and final element is to have a look at some of the early stage but high potential projects that the company has. And we've got some excellent exploration territory out here. We have the ground that's next door to Newmont Mining's Cali gold deposit, 12 million ounce deposit. We have the same rock types and some very good indicators in our ground. And our first prize would be obviously to find another Cali.
Now, Brett, there has been some hostility from one of your major shareholders, APAC, who are looking to replace the board at a shareholder meeting next week. What's the background to this dispute? Yeah,
that's right. It's been very disappointing. It's been a big distraction from the real job we'd like to be doing here. And it really rose at the end of last year that the company's financial position was very tight. Obviously, the mine hadn't been delivering the returns that was expected. And so the company did need funding going forward. We did have some discussions of brokers, but back then, or as it is now, largely, the market for junior exploration companies raising capital was very, very difficult, and no broker could offer us any certainty of being able to raise funds for us. So we turned to our larger shareholders, and it was very pleasing that our two biggest shareholders, Pacific Road Capital, who own just under 20%, and APAC Resources, who have almost 15%, were both eager to support the company financially. So that's a great position to be in, and we're very, very pleased about that. And both companies put in proposals to sub-underwrite a rights issue to raise the funds the company needs going forward. And after careful evaluation, we were moving towards accepting the offer from Pacific Road. And that was principally because it was priced at 4 cents per share, which wasn't far below our market capital. It was about 30% below our market price at the time. And the proposal from APAC, our second largest shareholder, was priced at 2.25 cents. So it was simply a case of picking the offer that was the best deal for shareholders. We were selling a slice of their company, and one party was offering a much better price than the other. And at that stage, unfortunately, APAC launched a what's known as 249D notice, which was calling for a meeting to dispose all the directors of the board other than their representative on the board. And so we pushed on with our proposal to raise capital and announced the rights issue that was planned. And at that stage, APAC took action in the takeovers panel as well, claiming it would unduly give control to Pacific Road. And that's something we've been bogged down in over the last 6 to 8 weeks. It's very disappointing. We'd dearly like to have both shareholders supporting us, but there was a fundamental different view on value there, and naturally, if you're trying to sell something, you sell something for what you consider to be the best price, which is what we were doing.
Sure, and what are you saying to your shareholders regarding this?
Well, I guess the key thing coming up is that the 249D notice has resulted in a shareholders meeting being held a week today, next Monday. And at that meeting, shareholders are asked if they want to vote off the three directors on the board who are not representatives of APAC and replace them with two more nominees of APAC. And so I guess the key thing we're saying is that we believe those resolutions should be opposed. And the reason for that is, people talk about governance, but this is, we believe, an extreme situation which would result in very poor governance, where you have all members of the board nominated by a single shareholder. We just simply don't think that's great for remaining shareholders. It was recognised that there was change needed at board level, and that change is well underway. Last year there was a 6-person board. Of those 6 people, 4 have already resigned and replaced with 2 new appointees. One of the remaining 2 has signalled his intention to resign upon his replacement. That's our interim chairman, Richard Proctor. And we have already gone through a search process that was run by an independent executive search firm who's turned up some excellent candidates for non-executive chairman. And we have a shortlisted candidate there who is ready and willing to take on the role, but really can't take that position until this situation with our current major shareholders is resolved, which is, again, a disappointing situation. But nevertheless, the current board is balanced. It has a representative from each of the 2 major shareholders and the 2 other directors that don't have any association from either 2 major holders. They are independent from both the other 2 shareholders. So we think the current situation is the best position for the company's shareholders as a group, and that particularly with the appointment of the new chairman, we'll have a strong board, very well skilled and appropriate experience to take the company forward.
And why should shareholders support you as managing director and the current board?
Well, it's not really down to personalities, whether it's me or someone else. I think it's important that you've got a board and a management team that has a plan to go forward. And since the old pirate mine failed to deliver what it was supposed to, we've been working on a plan to restructure the company to take account of the circumstances. And that's involved a few things. One is obviously to wrap up old pirate in the most effective cash positive manner for shareholders, and that's been very successful. In the March quarter, the company has been cash positive for the first time ever. We've generated a reasonable amount of cash that's put us in a much stronger position than we were in at the end of December. We've also taken significant steps to reduce the company's overhead costs. The company had a massive tenement portfolio, 48,000 square kilometres. It's quite a big chunk of Australia. And it was picked up for good reasons. There was some good prospectivity there, but it's simply too big and too expensive for us to manage. So we've cut land under lease by almost 50% in recent months, and we're narrowing our focus to the Tanami area, which is where all the multi-million ounce deposits in that part of the world have already been found, and we believe offers the best prospectivity going forward. We've been able to farm off some of the other ground. We have Independence Group earning an interest in our Lake Mackay properties to the south, and that joint venture has already delivered some great results with the discovery of what's known as a Bumblebee prospect, an exciting new discovery in what's a new mineral field. So we continue to do that. We're also cutting our overhead costs. On the completion of mining, we don't have the same requirements in terms of our corporate support, and so our corporate costs will also be cut significantly. And the prime goal is to get as many of the company's dollars as we can into the ground, drilling holes to turn our highly prospective properties into resources and ultimately get back to mining again.
Okay, and just finally, what is your major shareholder, Pacific Rhodes, view of the APAC proposal? Well,
I guess they didn't share the same views as APAC on pricing. Otherwise, the two of them, I suspect, would have done this whole thing jointly. And as our other shareholders are, I think they're concerned about one single shareholder having the total control of the company's board. So they've certainly indicated to us that they'll be voting against the resolutions, and I think they would be a little bit disturbed to see one party take full control of the company's board like that, particularly given they've invested so much money in it over the years, and that money's come directly into the company. They haven't acquired the shares on market from other parties. They've injected the money into the company when the company's needed it. So they would be concerned for their investment, I think.
All right, Brett Lambert, thank you very much for the update today.
Thank you, Lily.